Right. Well, first and foremost, welcome to the Solidity Insurance Group team call. My name's Marisa Maggio. If I have yet to meet you, welcome to the team. We're excited to have you. And before we hit this call off today, the call is with somebody who's actually really like genuinely like near and dear to my heart, and somebody who really came in and had no prior sales experience, and I'll let her, go over her story, but came in, took feedback, took self accountability, did things that were uncomfortable, and is extremely self aware. And I think that that's really important in this business because what I can tell you guys is the Marisa that at least I can speak for myself, the Marisa that walked into the insurance industry looked a lot different than the Marisa that's sitting here today. And I'm thankful for that because a lot of the sometimes the most challenging part of this business is it is going to make you, in a way, grow yourself. It's going to make you develop self-growth, self-development, however you want to put it. And either that's going to make you or it's going to break you. And I think Bree is a prime example of somebody who it's making, and she just rolls with the punches and extremely self-aware. So Bree, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Marisa. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be on. I don't take it lightly, and I know that you could be doing a lot of other things, but you're here with us. So thanks for being on with us, Bree.
Of
And
course.
for those people out there that maybe haven't had the chance to meet you just yet, Bree, give us a little bit of background about yourself, maybe what you were doing prior to FFL and what really got you into the insurance industry.
Sure. So I'm from Nebraska, not small town, a city in Omaha or in Nebraska, Omaha. I have kind of like a crazy background. So I was kind of a bad kid in high school. I went to like an alternative school where I lived there. I graduated. They kind of forced military. Long story short, I went in the army. I was in the army slash active duty slash reserves after that for 8 years total there. I did some armed security after that at the nuclear plant, and then I went into healthcare. My mom got really sick. She had ALS, and between my dad and her and my dad and me, we took care of her. We were her caretakers. And then that just like kind of showed I always wanted to go into healthcare, but then I kind of took the jump. I went into the medical field. I was a CT tech. I traveled around. I was a traveler for a while. COVID hit. It was crazy. I was in Boston, Kansas City. And then my only two choices after that were New York or California. COVID was in the thick of things and I was just mentally going downhill. So I came back to Omaha, had a few more mental struggles, which I won't get into that right now. I think most people know my story. But after that I just was drained from healthcare, and so I was basically somewhat like a door dasher. It was called Ship, so I did people's personal orders from Target and like Hy-Vee. I don't know if you guys have Hy-Vee. And I just did that. I used to do it on the side when I was in healthcare, so I worked 312. So I would just basically go to the store, shop for them, text them if something was out of stock, deliver it, all of that. And I was just like, okay, I mean, I made decent money doing it, but it was a grind. It was a lot of gas, and I was just like, there's gotta be something. Like, I know I'm a hard worker, this and that. But like, I can't, like, I, something's gotta give. Like, I want something more, I had a friend that sells life insurance, and, she never really was forthcoming with information. So basically I did like a Google search and I had a few different companies that popped up. And the funny thing is I had a phone interview with one company and they didn't call me. And then the next one was Melissa. She reached out the next day and I was like, I'm in. Like, when do I start? Like, type of thing. And she was probably like thinking I'm crazy. And I'm like, I don't know. I was telling Steve, my boyfriend, I'm like, I don't know. This is too good to be true. Like, she's like, I think I'm in. And I just didn't know. And then here we are, like 9 months later. And it's been a ride. But I love it
Absolutely.
and here I am.
No doubt. And you're doing amazing. And thanks for just always being willing to be transparent because to be honest, guys, not everybody has that quality. So Bree, like genuinely, thank you. Um, And from your kind of background, it sounds like you were looking for, you're like, there has to be something more I can get out of life. I can work my butt off. I'm not scared to work hard, but like, I want to work hard and maybe make a bigger difference and make a bigger income. So along came a friend you had in life insurance. See, guys, don't be a secret agent, okay? Because Bree's with us, okay? And Bree could have been with her friend who's in life insurance, but she was being a kind of a secret agent. And I ain't mad at her, okay? I'm actually like, thanks, shout out to her. But that all jokes aside, guys, Bree mentioned she knows she's the hard worker, right? She had a friend in life insurance, started looking, doing her own due diligence into the industry. Got a call from Melissa. Guys, honestly, this industry always sounds too good to be true until the first deposit hits, right? And then it's like, oh shoot, this is happening, and it's really exciting. So, Bree, thank you so much for being on with us today. I'm really excited. And guys, what we're gonna really dive into today, and I want to kind of preface this the right way too. So, I'll get messages, and this isn't just in regards to Bree, but it's why we're going to kind of break down Bree's week, okay? I'll get messages that will say things along the lines of, well, what is Bree doing? Well, what is X person doing? Like, back in 2019, Bree, it used to be like, Marissa's working a secret lead, right? Like that's what it used to be like. That used to be like right. And it's like there was no secret lead. Like just till this day, guys, like there's not a secret lead. Now, that be the good leads, the secret leads, right? But guys, oftentimes I'll have new agents reach out and they're like, oh, well, they can't be working, like Rosalind couldn't be working age leads, is she? Like, no, she is. Like, she is. Like, now, that all being said, guys, there were steps that were taken, right, prior to now Bree's going to share a little bit about her leads in just a moment. But prior to Bree getting to the arrival of this lead, guys, there's going to be stepping stones in this business. And we can only step as quickly as you're willing to step. If you're going to take your commissions and you're not willing to reinvest in leads, and then you're like, I have no leads, I have no money, and I'm like, and I'm not shocked, like respectfully, like it makes sense to me why you don't have leads or money because you took your commission and you put it back and you made your car payment and now the car payment is made, but it's like, guys, sometimes we need to just kind of restructure and simplify. So what we're going to walk through today is really kind of what Bree's week looks like. So Bree, thank you for letting us dive into your week in advance. And
Okay.
what I mean by Bree's week, and we're going to kind of start with is schedule, guys. This is one of the biggest cornerstones. And more often than not, it's going to come back to schedule, activity, and leads if you're having trouble in your business. That all being said, Bree, just to kind of hit it off, what does your schedule look like week to week?
Okay. So I start at 8 and I'm gonna say 8:30 because I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I used to start dialing at 8. Now I log in, I do some back office stuff, and I start at dialing at 8:30. I dial until about 1. I take a small break. Now, before, like up until about couple months ago, I was taking a small break in the afternoon to do office stuff about 1 to 3. But my numbers, if you, I don't know, I'm not that important. So I'm sure nobody's watching my numbers like I am. From 1 to 3, I was kind of taking a little bit too long of a break, and my numbers were really dipping the last couple months. So I kind of cut that off. So now I take a little short break if I need to call Americo, do whatever I need to do, and then I get back right back on it. So I'm pretty much dialing until 7 p.m. at night.
Okay.
Every day. Every
So
day.
it's like, and you know what the best part about this is too, guys? It's like you log on to Zoom, like you're gonna see Bree during these hours. Like you are. And like to be honest, like if I don't see Bree or I didn't see Bree and I noticed, right? Like I hope she's okay. And that's just because she's so accountable to herself. Guys, sometimes our schedule is gonna come back to like, Bree, is it fair to say that like every morning you don't wake up and you're like, I can't wait till 8:30 to make my first dial? Like, is it fair to say? Like, right?
Is
Like
it
that's
fair to
fair.
say I don't always wake up like that?
Yeah, like you don't always wake up and you're like, I can't wait for 8:30, like it's
It
8:29,
is
like
fair.
right?
It's
Like
fair,
it's totally
yes.
fair, right? Like but you find you act your way into feeling somehow, right? Like you act your way into motion. And guys,
I do
sometimes the
though.
hardest 100%. You always do. And guys, that's sometimes the biggest piece is like being able to say, hey, you know what? like Bree said to me, she's like, I started at 8. She's like, I take that back. 8:30. I do a little bit of back office stuff. She's honest with herself. Guys, we gotta all be honest with ourselves. So Bree, you're dialing 8:30 to 1. You're taking a little bit of a break there, so to say, and you're jumping back on the phones till about 7 at night.
Yes, ma'am. Hmm.
Love it. So you're just following that schedule. And it's like, guys, when you can set that in stone, you might be like, I have to pick up my kids. I have to, like, Bree, you have dogs, right?
Yes.
And do you have to bring them for a walk sometimes or bring them out?
Yes.
Right? It's like she accounts for that. Like, she's like, okay, like, maybe Steve's home, maybe he's not, whatever, right? Like he can help
Hmm.
out, but like maybe he's not. And like Bree's like, okay, I have to account for the fact that I got to bring the dogs out. They got to use the bathroom, whatever it might be. Everybody has something, guys. So don't point at your child or at whatever it is and use it as an excuse. You should use it as a motivator. Like people always will say to me, well, you don't have kids. And like it's like my favorite one liner at this point in the game. I'm like, I don't have kids. You're right, I don't. I don't have kids yet. But if I did have kids, what I can say, and I know I'm not a parent yet, is I would work around that schedule to make sure the kids are taken care of, but also that I can take care of the kids, right? And that just makes sense to me. So guys, following your schedule is going to be the key thing to seeing success. And making sure like Bree isn't sitting in front of the computer like she's not watching like she's not like, oh, and what you could have done better there was this, and she's like waiting for she's actively working. Like there's a difference, guys. So ask yourself that if you're getting frustrated with it. Am I actively working right now or am I acting like I'm working, right? Like which one am I doing? We can do both on Zoom, right? Um, Now that being said, talk to us, Bree, a little bit about leads. Like what leads are you buying? Are they reoccurring? What does that look like right now?
Yeah, so right now I've changed it up a little bit before. So now I'm working a campaign. I'll tell you a little bit about before I started the campaign. So I was buying at least a 30 to 40 pack Sunday and then Tuesday. So always on Sunday and then Tuesday because they came in a little bit slower. So I'd have leads coming in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then boom, Sunday I'd usually get quite a few in Sunday through Monday. So I had constant lead flowing all week. And then I decided to try a campaign. One of my favorite sayings is variety is a spice of life. I wanted to try something new. I wanted leads coming in every day. I also do, a 30 pack a week, which also I'm going to be very transparent on this. So I started the campaign. I was still buying some leads because it takes a little bit for the campaign to optimize. So I was doing that. Well, all of a sudden my campaign started hitting and and I'm like, oh, cool. I don't need to buy leads anymore. So then my numbers, like November, dipped. And Rami's like, okay, well, you still need to buy leads. Like the campaign, you can't just do the campaign. So it's all been a learning experience, like this whole year, obviously. So now I know that I have to at least buy like a 30 pack now, run the campaign, and then I'm gonna supplement age, as needed. Every time there's a coupon, I just buy like 100. So I'm kind of all over the place right now. But just being very transparent with you, it's like establishing like the flow and then you switch something up. It's all over. But we're
Brie, I want
learning.
to pause you
So
right there real quick because you made a good
okay.
point, right? You're like, let me bring you back, right? Like you're like, before this is what I did. But is it fair to say, like, as you're walking through your journey, your lead flow is going to kind of progress or regress depending on what you're doing, right? W-
Yes.
like Brie, if you weren't making money, like, Rami and you, like, if you were like, oh, I'm going to start a campaign, like, he would be like, no, you ain't. Like you issue 2,000 a month, right? Like you're gonna like like that's a really bad idea. But over time, guys, it's a good idea as long as we're working and reinvesting back into the business. So I love how you started with like basically I was working aged, right? Then I was working those two 30 to 40 packs that I bought on Sunday and Tuesday. Then I went all campaign. Then I thought the campaign was going to be essentially like everything I needed, which understandable. And then you're like, hey, I had to add some more leads in. So guys, leads is like a constant thing that's going to be rolling, but you have to be rolling with it too. Like if Bree didn't work the last 2 weeks, like I'm not going to speak for Bree, but I can say like for myself, if I turned a campaign on and didn't work for 2 weeks, like, first of all, I'm wasting money, I'm wasting resources, I'm not helping the people. But also, it's like, don't turn a damn campaign if you're not going to work it. I've seen that happen so many times, and it's just a really big waste of money. So, like, Bree didn't wake up with a campaign. Like, Bree woke up just like pretty much everybody on this call and started on aged veteran leads and worked her way through. And now she's at a place where, hey, like, that campaign can be on and she can supplement in addition to. I loved diversity is the spice of life. I'm taking that, by the way. I love that, Bree. So at this point, you really have diversified, but you also have your leads rolling in, right? Like the campaign is, you're not like, oh, like I'm going to stop it today and turn it back on tomorrow, right? Like it has to
No.
optimize.
Yes. Rami's told me like don't mess with it. And my campaign's performing really well. And everyone that I've talked to that has paused it, start it, their cost per lead is through the roof because they keep messing with it. And mine's just
Ex-
steady. So I'm liking it right now. I'm actually tracking the numbers, which is another thing I've learned this year is that I really need to start tracking things more so I can see exactly how each lead is performing and things like that. So I can have a better understanding of what's doing what, not just, oh, hey, I wrote 40K this month. Good job. It's like which lead is doing better. So that's something that I'm going to work on in the year coming. So
Absolutely. And I love like honestly like Brie, like I love how you're like there's still like more I can do better, right? Like Bree's
oh, a
like the
lot.
guest on the call and she's like, like so like this year like and I love you for that, right? But it's like guys, you have to realize to get from age to new and new to a campaign and campaign to supplementing, you have to be able to get through the aged and be able to get to a profitable standpoint and also be willing to reinvest. The biggest thing that happens in this business that I see is an agent will make a couple sales and they're just simply not willing to reinvest. And like, then they go out of business. It's like if, your favorite pizza shop down the street decided like they weren't going to buy, pizza dough anymore. They're going to buy it every 2 weeks. Like, I know I can speak for myself. I'll be like, I'm not going to get the pizza from there. It's like they're going to go out of business. They're selling bad dough to folks, right? So think about your leads the same way. Your lead flow really is your cash flow. And it's also a way to keep your mindset right. If you know you've invested the money into leads, you have 100 leads in front of you, like you're like, let's do this thing. Versus you open your computer up and you have the same leads you've had the last 14 days sitting there. That doesn't feel really inspiring for anybody. So like getting new leads is so important. So, Bree, thanks for sharing that and essentially having the insight on that campaign too. It means a lot. Thanks. Now, as you go through your day, we talked about schedule, we talked about kind of what that looks like for you. This is a hard question to ask anybody, in my opinion, but on a normal day, how many dials are you typically making and how many people are you typically connecting with from start to finish on like a presentation?
It depends on the day. So I'm kind of tracking that too. So far this morning, so if I have a day that I am just dialing, not getting anyone on the phone, I've tracked that a few, many times. I get about 500 to 700 dials in. If I'm literally just triple dialing, not getting through. I've also learned that typically if that's happening, that means that I'm probably spammed. So I do try to get new numbers on Ringy. That's typically a problem that I don't have proof that probably I'm spammed. So today is Thursday. I have made contact with, this is just campaign, so this isn't really accurate, but campaign wise, I made contact with three that basically just I couldn't get past the intro. I've done three presentations and I've had zero sales off those. I've also done, you see, I can show here, and that's just from one, so 8:30 to 1. I've done, and then one presentation just off of an age lead. And so far I've had no sales today. And if you check Ricky,
And
I'll
and
tell you
guys,
how
we're gonna like
dials.
I want to be like super clear, right? Like guys, a lot of us, like including me, like Bree's amazing at her job, but this is why they're called leads, guys. They're not called sales, right?
I'm at
Because
133 for the day.
okay,
I,
133. Okay,
you
I'm gonna
can't see it, but I've
no, but
had
I trust you.
4 presentations, so that's taken some time.
Okay, so guys, but like even if you do that math out, right? Because sometimes you guys will like people will be like any agent will be like, well, I don't know how you have to how many dials do you have to make to talk to somebody? It's like, well, it depends. And if your number's showing up as spam, I mean, a lot is going to be the answer. But if we think about that, okay, Bree, for every 33 dials Bree made today, give take, she talked to somebody, okay? And probably a little bit more than that. But understanding like okay, Bree, we're gonna hit on this. Power dialer. Do you use I know you use Ringy as a platform, but do you use it as a power dialer?
I do not.
Can you explain
Um,
why you don't do that?
yes, so I've tried to use the power dialer on Ringy. I just got more frustrated because I had to disposition each time and I lack patience. Wave, I did like the Wave power dialer. Um, for some reason I ditched that. I don't remember exactly why, or I'm not going to state exactly why on this call. Um, so I just hand dial. I just hand dial. I'm a control freak. Um, I do on a slow week, I do knock myself down sometimes because I'm like, gosh, if I just had a power dialer, I could freaking power dial through all these age leads and all these campaigns because I have like, thousands of leads now from this campaign that I could just boom power through them. So sometimes in the back of my mind, I'm like, should I have one? But the straight answer is no, I don't. I hand dial.
Right, like Bree is the power dialer. Like that's what when I remember in insurance when the first time we had ever seen anything like that type of platform or power dial, which is I'm talking years ago, guys. And I remember I looked at the thing and I was so frustrated because I was like, the numbers kind of show up as spam. And I honestly, I wasn't being really positive about it. I'll be very honest about that. And there's good and bad things about every power dialer, but it's also about the person who is using the power dialer. Like to Bree's point, she's like, I'm a control freak. Hey, I'm with you there. I like to control what I can control, Bree, so I'm with you there. It's like if you know your call, if you made 300 dials and nobody answered the phone, like, do you think your number is not showing up as spam? Like it is. You don't have to call me. Like it definitely is. Like, so being cognizant, if you are using, I'm not against a power dialer, but Bree just so going back to what, okay, first time I ever saw this in the industry, I got frustrated and I said, I am the power dialer. Okay. Like, meaning like I can make my own damn dials. I can call the leads. I can book the appointments. Like, this is crazy. Like, is somebody going to hold my hand and skip down the street with me while I do it? Like, that's how I felt about it. Now, I'm not talking poorly about power dialers. It just doesn't work well for me individually. Now, that being said, guys, Bree led with, I typically make about 500 to 700 dials per day. She's like, I'm a little bit basically like, I'm a little off today. Hey, she's on the call with us right now. Like, it's a Thursday too. There's a lot of calls going on. Point being is, if you're not willing to manually dial 500 dials a day, this just simply might not be a proper fit for you. And I say that with love because as much as I want everybody on this team to win. Like period, end of story. If you're here and you're not winning, respectfully, I want you to go somewhere where you are winning because we're all on the same team. But guys, what we're not realizing sometimes is we think that there's these different resources or we're so stuck on like this new thing, the shiny object syndrome. If you keep jumping from thing to thing to thing to thing, you don't know what works, right? Like Bree, if you used a different power dialer every day, right? Like for, the next 30 days, because we could definitely find 30 power, like you're not going to be able to be like, well, this one was really good, right? Like you used it for one day, right? So it's like, guys, in my personal perspective, and Bree, I would love for you to chime in on this as well. Like, call off of your regular phone number, no matter what states you're calling, because it's going to pop up as your name or what, at least your phone number
Mhm.
and not spam. And then like download and Ringy. You don't need to use the power dialer setting, but you can download the phone numbers. You can use Ringy. You can also use an app like Unlisted or Sideline. but have a second line that you can change the phone number on. Outside of that, like you're golden. Like, is that fair to say, Brie?
Oh, it's totally fair to say. It's just funny to me because I think people just like, oh, what are you using? Like Pixie, Wave. Like it's like I've always been told you only use power dialers for age leads anyway. So it's like, are you really like, do you think it's like some special sauce that like people are selling 50K a month for by because they have Wave? Like it's not like a replacement for the work. So like if you're not producing, it's not because you don't have a good power dialer. Like it's just I don't know. That's I
Not a
mean,
replacement for the work. I love
yeah.
that, Brie.
I mean,
It's yeah.
it's just like an excuse. Like, oh, I mean, just like I don't have the right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways.
me and Jackson resonated with that heavy, right? It's not a replacement for the work. It's like, so like, guys, if you have a power dialer, awesome, use it. Make sure it's not showing up as spam would be my first piece of advice. Second piece of advice would be make sure that you are not making the power dialer the only dialer, meaning that you're dialing too. So, Bree, thank you for hitting on that because I think that a lot of folks get kind of like hung up and they almost sit there and then like they marinate in it and then they just don't move to
Yeah.
the proper action, you know? Now obviously you're human, right? Is it fair to say like you have like an off day or a tough day, right?
Week, year.
Year, week, right? But you get right, you get through it, right? Right? One day at a
Yeah.
time. You know, what do you do? Or what maybe you're like, I don't know, but what do you do, Bree, when you have a bad day and you're just like, I really don't want to dial right now. Like I don't want to do this right now. Like what do you do?
Um, I dial. I dial and I just walk away for a few, I text you or I call Rami when I start getting to my head. I have this, from one of Sean Mike's meetings, the most simplest thing right here that he said in a meeting. And it's just like when you find yourself thinking, stop because it's the most common. It's just the simplest thing because that's what happens. I just start thinking and then there's nothing good that happens when my brain starts going down that path. And that's the biggest challenge I have in this business is my mindset. I have genetically a bad mind, I can go to some dark places quick. And I've worked on that, but it's a daily thing. Like Sean was, he talked a lot about that at Founders Day. And, it's just like, I wrote down here, he's just said that, you know, did I write it down? Oh, he's just like emotional intelligence is something that you have to work on every single day. It's like if you can get like 1% better on that every single day, like you're gonna really go far in this business. But I know 100% if anything takes me out of this business, that's gonna be it. Like I can sit here and ponder things in my head and beat myself down and I just go to the darkest places. And it's terrible. So I have to reach out to you. I have to reach out to Rami. I have to get my mind right. I used to be the person that would wake up, 5 minutes before I absolutely, had to be showered out the door, the last second to get to the hospital in the morning to be on at work on time. This year I've started to wake up early, make sure I have like half an hour to sit down. I do my readings, I do a meditation, I pray in the morning, I take a shower. I used to this year for the first 6 months I'd be in my pajamas till 1 and then I'd take my break and go shower. And like now I have to get my mind right before I start my day. It's so important to me because this business is hard. I mean, mentally, and like he also said, like, it's not like a hard business, but managing yourself is hard and managing other people is hard. So that's a huge, huge challenge for me. And I don't remember what your question is. I
No, you
was.
answered
I
it.
just started like going off on
No, that
all
was
of
like
that.
That was a perfect answer. I was talking about what do you do when you have a bad day? Like when you don't want to
Oh
dial.
yeah.
You said, I dial. Like I dial.
Yeah.
And and that's kind of like what I led the call with too, is like, guys, like all of us, like as humans, are hopefully growing as human beings, like internally, every single day. But it's not something that, you're just going to read a book and then wake up tomorrow and you're going to be this changed person, right? If it was that easy, like everybody would do it. And we're going to have challenges, to Bree's point. She's like, I get up for a second, I'll take a quick kind of walk away from the computer just to get my mind right. I'll reach out and reach up instead of like calling, maybe a friend of yours and getting into even a darker place, because I've definitely done that in my insurance career, guilty as charged. You're calling
Mhm.
your upline and you're like, hey, this is what's going on, like, and just trying to recenter yourself. Is that fair to say, Bree?
Absolutely. Yes.
And you said something that I think is really important. You're like, if anything would take me out of the business, it would be that. And guys, this business, it's not easy. It's not hard when you look at it from an outside standpoint looking in. But if things wear on you, if you take things personally, like just there's so many moving pieces in this business that I would say this business is 98% mindset. It's 98% mindset. And if you're not willing to work on yours, it's going to be really difficult. Now, Brie, I look at you and I'm thinking like, okay, hey, but like you're working on it. Like you just named like 80 things that you incorporate into your morning routine that you didn't used to do. And you're flat out like, until midway through this year, I used to wake up, basically be in my pajamas till 1, take that break, right? Take a shower and like, like I was up, right? But it's like now you're like, okay, maybe that wasn't working to you for your full potential, so to say, to come out. You're like, okay, so what can I control? I can wake up a little bit earlier. I can, spend time with God or however you would phrase that. I
Mhm.
can meditate, but you have time for yourself, right? Like that's important.
It is.
Guys, sometimes we don't make time for ourselves and then it comes out it bleeds out into our work. And like I've also been guilty of that in the past. And you just almost like you're mad that you're at work because like you wanted to sleep till 8:59, me. Like that, like, it's like that doesn't work long term. So it's like as long as you're committed to growing yourself, it's like it's really difficult to stop here once you get going. So Bree, I'm really proud of you and what you've come across so far and how much you've changed in such a small period of time. So give yourself, as I would say, a pat on the butt and a good job. So love
Thank
you.
you.
Of course.
Love
And
you more.
also, and also like, like it gets your mind right before the day, right? Like if you meditate and, you're spending time, you're reading a Bible verse or spending time with God or whatever it might be, it's way more likely that you're going to go into the day with a more like positive mental attitude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Like,
the maintenance guy is here.
yeah, you need to get it.
Can I just
Yeah,
let him in?
absolutely. Please do. And guys, this is the beauty of working from home, right? It's like, Bree's like the maintenance guys here, like we got it. But I do just want to quickly kind of hit on a couple other things that Bree had said there. She's like, like everyone's a work in progress. So don't be so hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Like we are all a work in progress, including me, including Bree, including Sean Mike. So it's like, like no one's perfect. All right, but that being said, now Bree, you've been in
I'm
the industry
sorry.
now. You're good. You're good. Thank you. About 9 months, right?
Yes.
A a little bit less than 9 months, but we're gonna say nine. And Bree, you've issued almost, I think about 300 grand.
Getting close.
Yeah, so it's like if Bree was here the entire year, she would have well hit Hall of Fame, just so we're all on the same page. But that being said, doing 300 grand in your first 8.5 months is definitely something to be proud of. So Bree, I'm really proud of you, girl. But we ain't even at full through the full 9 months. Now, that being said, being 9 months into the industry, what are some of the things that you would tell a brand new agent to take really seriously when they're first getting started?
The core things, schedule, the leads, and um the coaching, the new agent room. That helped me so much. Just having to be unmuted there, but like in a environment where, you're not in front of all the other people, which it's not as scary, as you guys think, but you're going to have random people that, probably shouldn't be coaching and they're coaching you and it's just kind of annoying. So it is a great environment. I learned so much in that room. And honestly, like even when I went to the big room or graduated, I would have rough weeks or like rough days and I would like go back in there and I'm like, I'm just not feeling it this week. I feel like I need more support and I would go back in there. So I think that's a huge thing. Just your schedule, like everyone takes this like work from anywhere or, make your own schedule, they take it to the extreme, like, well, I need to work every other day, or I'll work for 2 hours here and then take the rest of the day off, or I made a sale. So now I'm good. It's like, well, you made a sale. So, what if that charges back? Like, you have to be consistent. And like the first year it's such a grind, it's not easy. It's not like a get rich quick. I mean, it's a grind. Like you have to work the first year. It's gonna pay off eventually, and you're gonna get to that freedom, but you have to do the work to get to that freedom. And I think that's like a huge misconception when new agents come in. And I was just like, I was just like, Ronnie, I'm like, what do I need to do? And he was just like, he just kind of told me like, hey, dial from 8 to 1, take a small break, dial from 3 to 7. And I was just like, okay, like, and that's what they say, kind of like, what do I need to do? Like, and then like, are you willing to do anything to make this work? And you're supposed to kind of be like, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, if you want to do what it takes, like, do you? I mean,
Right.
that's my advice.
I
So
love that.
yeah, I mean,
So,
you all can do it. It's not hard. We can all do it. It's just like, are you willing to put in the work?
right, are you gonna do it? Right, like we can all, but are you gonna do it? Are you gonna unmute in the new agent room? When you get out of the new agent room, are you gonna unmute in the main room and
Right.
realize like we can all still get feedback? Like, are like what are you willing to do and what are you not willing to do? And I think asking yourself that is really important because like one of the most important things is like being able to be honest with yourself. To Bree's point, she's like, some people walk in and it's like, oh, like I'm self-employed, like, and you are, like, be clear, you're definitely self-employed. But if you're self-employed and you don't, and you work like, you're unemployed if you work 1 day a week. Like, you are unemployed if you work 1 day a week. Like, let's be really clear. So we got to pick, are we going to be self-employed or are we going to be unemployed? Because there's not a middle ground. It's self-employed, unemployed, like, that's it. There's not like, oh, or it's like I have a hobby. Hobbies don't make you money, so you should probably, I love you, but go get a job. It's not going to work, right? Now, in addition to what you just said, the coaching part I think is really important, right? It's like if you're not willing to get coaching, like guys, if I joined, I'm not even going to take it to an extreme. I was going to say the NBA, but they would never let me in, guys, but I'm going to use the NBA. If I join the NBA, okay, tomorrow for some whatever reason, they're like, we're drafting you. I'd be like, I'm really confused. I've never shot a basketball in my life. Like, and they're like, we need you to do this drill and that drill. And I'm not willing to do it. Okay. Like straight up, I'm not willing to do it. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not, Marisa can't ball. That's a fact, Jackson. They would definitely kick me right out of the NBA. But it's like if they were giving me drills and I was like, I really want to be in the NBA. Like I really want to make this happen. I'm gonna go run the damn drills. I'm gonna try to figure it out. It's
Right.
hard, no matter what I did. If I wanted to be in that position, I'm going to try as hard as I humanly, literally, my body humanly will let me do to get to that point. Now, when I came into FFL, and guys, you probably hear Sean say this if you've been around Sean at all, he asked me 3 questions flat out. He said, where are you at now financially? And I was like, not in a good place, man. Where do you want to be? Okay. And what are you willing to give up to get there? There's always going to be sacrifice. It might be sacrifice in time. It might be sacrifice in comfort. I want to hone in on that. It might be sacrifice in comfort. I get it, guys. In the new agent room, the main room, you might be like, I don't know these people. Oh my God. No one is on there to judge you, dude. Like everyone is on there to help. And if anyone's judging you, I can promise you they're doing way worse than you are. Way worse. Because if anybody on there is judging you, that's just weird. And then in the new agent room, you were always unmuted. You're always willing to take the coaching, even when it was difficult coaching. That was like in this and like all over. Like you were just like, okay, you were taking your notes and you were taking it in. And Bree, if I had a guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's definitely been times outside of when you're on Zoom that you've learned more about the industry, whether that's looking at notes, watching YouTube videos, watching podcasts that might have helped you. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. Yes.
So it's like, guys, if you're not doing that, you got to ask yourself, like, okay, like what else do I need to do? Or to Bree's point, ask your upline, like, hey, like, what am I missing? What am I missing here? I feel like I'm doing everything I can, but what am I missing? And there's typically going to be something that we can point at, guys. And if I called Trey Honeycutt right now and said, what am I missing? He's going to have feedback like as he should. But if I don't have any logistics to go off of, it's really hard to give feedback, right? In the first year in this business, it's absolutely a grind. It is. You're learning a brand new skill, right? Like if they going back to if they let me in the NBA, guys, if they let me in the NBA, it would be really bad. I would be learning a brand new skill, okay? But the best thing about family first life in the insurance industry is you don't have to have talent, right? For me to get drafted into the NBA, I would need to have talent, okay, which I don't. I cannot ball to Jackson's point, okay? That being said, though, this doesn't require any talent. But what it does require is the willingness to get feedback, get uncomfortable, and take constructive criticism. The best feedback I've ever gotten in this industry is typically constructive criticism. It's something I don't want to hear, but it's something that needs to be fixed in my process because if it's not fixed, it's not going to look good for me in my business. So, guys, start thinking about these things as you're walking through, whether it's, you're in year three or it's your first day, right? Like, start thinking about just what are my controllables? And when you do the work, you get the freedom. I like how you said that, Brie. Like, you're like, you didn't walk in day one and you weren't like, well, I made a sale, so I'm going to go to Disney World and I'll be back in a couple of weeks and I'll see you guys then. You were like, okay, like what's next? What's next? What's next? You're still like, what's next? What's next? You're not like, oh, I'm gonna just take like, I'm gonna take like a month off and travel Europe. Like, you're like, I'm not there yet, but I'm gonna get to a point where I can take a month off and travel Europe. Like, I'm gonna get there. But like the first year, guys, flat out, the first year is the hardest. That's why I always bring up the Limbra stat that everybody gets mad at me for bringing up. 91% of life insurance agents quit within their first year. But that says a lot about the industry. Nope, that says a lot about humanity. Flat like that. It says a lot about humanity. All right. So it's just, are you going to be in that 9% that doesn't quit? Are you going to be the person who doesn't give up, who grinds through the hard times, who deals with the BS? At every stage of this business, there's going to be a new level of something that you have to deal with. Are you willing to deal with it? Right? Bree's proven that through different things. In the beginning, it's like leads going on to a campaign, moving and bending in different areas. But the biggest thing I will say, Bree, that you just brought up is being willing to take the coaching, right, around you and knowing like you take coaching till this day. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
It's
I
like you're
mean,
not like, oh, I wrote 40K and I don't need no help, right? Like, no. Because Bree's
I
like,
need
that's
a
such a
lot of
winner's
help. Still.
Bree, me and you both. I think right, that's why we're on the same team. It all makes sense now. But now that being said, I had written down some questions because you guys know me. I like to write down questions because I like to make sure the call is somewhat organized. And I had this question. You kind of answered a little bit, but why do you believe you're open to feedback even when you're tired, right? Because you've been tired and listened to feedback before. I've been there, right? Like even when you're tired, you had the long day, you talked to 11 people and you don't even know why you didn't close on 11 of them and like you're like, what the heck? Like why are you willing and open to take that feedback in that moment?
Because I know I need help. I mean, I know I have room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, and I want to get better. Um, I mean,
You
I
want
I
to
know
get
I don't
better.
know everything. I work my ass off, but I want to get better. Yeah. I want
Exactly.
to
So
be like you and Rami that like, you just push and push and like you get these people that have talked to 20 agents and you're the one to close it. Like I want to be like that and I want to teach people to do the same.
no doubt. And you're right there and you're doing it. So like I'm just fairly thankful to have you on the team. And it's really important, guys, to be open to feedback in this business. I used to be like a secret agent when I came in. I didn't come in like Bree. I came in and I was like, I don't want to bother anybody. Oh my God, I'm not going to call anybody for help. And we were in the home, so like, nobody really knew what I was doing or where I was or whatever. And guys, the moment I started getting feedback was the moment I started winning. Now, would I say that's like a winning company? No, I learned a lot there, but not a winning company. It wasn't Family First Life. But guys, my point is don't be a secret agent that doesn't ask for help. Your upline is willing to help you. And if your upline isn't willing to help you, the person that works with them is probably 100% willing to help you, especially if you're in this organization. So, guys, just being open to that feedback and understanding like sometimes the best time that you can get the feedback that you maybe don't want to hear is when you're tired, you talk to 11 people, and John just hung up on you right at the last Americo code, and you're like, what the heck? Sometimes that's the time you need to get the feedback because you need to just correct something, but you might not know what that is the next day. So, Bree, thank you for being you. And now, just to kind of wrap up, I got two last questions for you. First one's going to be, what's one or two pieces of advice that you would give to an agent that is either just getting started or they feel like they're in some type of like sales rut, so to say?
Um, I would say, take advantage of the resources you have, like your uplines and, the new agent room, the dial team, and unmute. That's the biggest thing. If you're just muted on the dial team in the new agent room, and you're just calling and calling and people are hanging up on you and you're just I mean there's no help to get better, it's probably something small you're doing, but if you're not unmuting nobody knows what that is and you obviously don't know what it is, so it's just weird to me if you want to get better that you're not like doing anything to get the help. So you're like probably telling your upline that you want to get better, but yet you're not unmuting. And it's like, take it a step further, like unmute and be like, hey, I'm really struggling. It's so supportive here. And that's one thing that I just love so much about this business and where I'm at and our team. It's so supportive, unmute and say, hey, I'm Bree. I'm really struggling. I'm not sure what's going on with my sales process, but if anyone has any feedback for me, I'm going to unmute today. Please let me know. And say that because, that'll, some people on here are going to really try to help you. Especially, our team, of course, they are always going to jump on and help you. But if you're like, I just don't understand. I'm just not writing anything. And then you're unmuted the whole time, but you're like, okay, I'm going to listen to myself or I'm going to watch YouTube. It's like, I mean, there's only so much, you can learn. And then new agents just do the things, stick to your schedule, buy the leads. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. As long as you do those things and take the coaching, like you're gonna kill it. I mean, this is the best business. Um, I love it. It's a grind, but we like the grind.
That's right. We have work ethic here. That's right. Amen. Love
Yeah.
that. And your goals, Bree. So like we're going into a new year and I always like, and honestly, I'm not gonna like sit here and act like I'm like, oh my God, like I'm not like new year, new me. Like I don't do that. I love you if you do, like all y'all out there. But it's like it's not always realistic. Now, that all being said, though, we are going into a new year. So Bree, what are some of your goals for 2026, whether that's within the business, it's personal, or both?
Yes. So, I am gonna work, it's a daily thing for me, but a big part of my goal for next year is really to work on my mindset. Um, but my two big goals for next year are to hit Hall of Fame, and the second one is to build a team.
Love it.
So,
Well, I know that if I was on this call and I was looking at the insurance industry, I'd be like, I want to work with her because she seems like she knows how to get people started and she just did it herself. So guys, like There's no better person. But Bree, I genuinely appreciate you in so many different ways. And guys, I know we're a little bit over, so I lied. I'm going to ask you one more question. Bree, you had the chance to go out to Founders Day and spend a little bit time with a more, I guess we can call it an intimate group, right? There was like 150, 200 people there, give take. And you got to, be at Founders Day where Sean goes over kind of the company, how it came about, the numbers, and kind of the vision of Family First Life. Bree, if you don't mind, give us like one or two of your biggest takeaways from being at that meeting.
Okay, sure. So I wrote down a couple things. Um, you know, it was just really nice to be in that group. I already said one of the things it was, that the business isn't hard, just managing yourself is hard, managing other people is hard. Um, the emotional intelligence, I I don't really have much.
And
Um,
let me ask a better question, Brie, my bad. So, Founders Day, like outside of the information, because I know it was like a load of information, and if I know you, you're like me, you
yeah,
had a planner and you had a notebook and you were writing your notes
yeah.
down, no doubt. But like, how was the actual experience for you of like being there?
It was awesome. It was really cool to get to interact with Sean at a more, smaller group, to be right in front of him. High energy. He kind of talked about how America's president was there. I forget his name.
Jeremy.
Um, and then yeah, and then we got to meet him and he talked about how it got started and he didn't even know this guy. He actually met him through a mutual friend and got his contact, and so that was really cool. He just shared like how it all got started. I don't know. Um,
But being there for you was a positive experience. Like
it
you feel
was, it was, it was my favorite event so far. It was just a really cool setting. My favorite thing he talked about was just like how we like work so hard for other people, in our lives and bust our butts for other employers and everything. But he was like, why wouldn't you work harder for yourself than you do for anyone else? But yet people will sit here and like scroll Instagram and like be on TikTok and things like that. So it was a really cool experience. So I'm grateful I got to go. And I'm grateful for all of you. This year has been wonderful. I'm really truly grateful for the culture and everything at Family First and you guys specifically. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm really happy you had the chance to experience that. And guys, I love like Bree, just to hit really back quickly on your goals, like, work on my mindset. Like talk about taking self-accountability. Like way to be, Bree. Like love that. Hitting Hall of Fame. Like that's in the bag. Like if I was betting, like I will bet everything on Bree right now.